grow up seriously.
Yeah, so
Calm down is what people want.
yeah,
Pro mods, go with pro mods, but just don't force other people to change what you don't want, what you want essentially.
yep. Oh, you see that 27 actually, after using the jabs, comes in, gets two nice backstabs on that short sword that helps try to hold off the arcade swarm, but they're just fighting too far away. Yeah, the Templar won that fight, but they pushed too far away to actually win it, and they ended up actually losing the objective because of it. 11 minutes and 4 seconds. That was basically one of the last pushes that arcade could have gone. It was entirely possible the Templar could have held them at that objective. So
well, the MMA from arcade literally just suicided almost and just went straight in kamikaze into getting that last push. So it was well on them.
Yep, and that strategy is
Safe.
very strong versus a team that doesn't rectify the situation and send someone to go get it. I mean, if you look at the side, you don't actually have any man-at-arms on the side of Templar. So to not be able to have man-at-arms with anything to pick up that man-at-arms with and do that counter objective work does make it a little bit more difficult to manage those objectives, and that's something that they need to take into consideration. Especially when 27, he did make a play by going out there and getting those stabs. He also left the cart though, and he could have been seen as that extra man. Looks like RK is going to wipe up fairly considerably over here. DJ Handsfree still just saying, hey, I still want to draw some blood. I'm thankful for the shout out that you gave me on stream, but I still want to bash your heads in with my cudgel. And he succeeds in doing so. The overhead's taking down Crush and crushing his head. Now DJ Handsfree takes out Onion, and now he's pretty much got his hands free to do whatever he wants.
That was a good push from RK.
This is sad if I was hoping that you were going to say that was a good double pun on Crushed and DJ Handsfree. That was a good pun. But yeah, that was a good push. You see over here on the left-hand side, they have that man-at-arms, at least initially, protecting DJ Handsfree in case anyone wants to go up there and blah, blah, blah. Wow, I called Skeetsy DJ Handsfree. But no, they sent that man-at-arms up there to secure that position with Skeetsy to make sure that he had that advantageous position. Although DJ Handsfree does not care and kills him anyway. Derringer over on the left-hand side of the screen does pick up 2 kills and now is trying to find a third and 27. He gets reinforcements. Stays alive, waiting for the reinforcements. Nice job. And the cart does move. 8 minutes and 48 seconds to go. Crushed at 15 and 11. Derringer at 12 and 9. Doing lots of good stuff. WJ, Rumple, and Onion a little bit lower on the kills, but you see Rumple functioning a lot more as an objective getter in this. And so scoreboard definitely isn't anything. I'd venture to say that without Rumple they wouldn't be in this. The main fight over there seems to be going in favor of Templar, and of course, because the cart is closer to the Templar respawns, it's going to be easier for them to now have wiped the enemy team and regroup, waiting for the RK advance. 27 actually leading the team in kills, which is absolutely amazing, especially for a Javelineer. We made the comment before that it's oftentimes that the Javelin, even if you don't get the kill, it's difficult to land multiple javelins, but even if you hit one, it's very easy for your melee to finish them off. What might be happening here is the melee might be getting them soured up, and 27 is finishing them off. And he's actually been using that that short sword to devastating effect when he runs out of ammo. So
yeah, he's not an easy kill as well. He's got that shield. He can stab very fast. That shield bash is also good. He's a
yeah, I'll be looking
team member here.
Yep, you're looking forward to him to definitely be doing work when he's over onto the attacking. Javelineers are great card pushers. You see Rumple go all the way around that right side, dropping down with that Morning Star that he just switched to from the Danax, getting nice kills before he gets TK'd by his own team, but the damage is already done to Templar. They do have 2 Knights circling around, and they actually have Onion and Archer as well. 27 tries to drop down, get that show shot, flying javelin shot. Eventually just has to settle for a ground one. Oh, and beautiful duck over by Skeetsy. Unfortunately for him, it's not going to help him versus the Jav that has a lower attack anyway. DJ Handsfree taking out Derringer, and now it looks like the Templars are going to collapse and take this out fairly easily. Although
And
this
a nice final stop, they can really do some damage here with the time by just winning these fights here, because it's critical, this part of the, obviously this objective.
Yep.
Just wasting time here.
You see them parked over where the car would go in the garage, rather than sitting out on the driveway or going out into the street. That's primarily because if you want to hold this, you actually have a fairly good choke point here, where you can't even be beset upon by individuals going off of either side of those walls and trying to drop down behind you or drop down into the action. So focusing people into this choke point, I like the play that Templar's doing, pretty smart. It does mean that they will be a little bit closer to the objective, but it's usually worth it, I personally find, and definitely a viable strategy nonetheless. You see Templar trying to hold up versus the might of the Knights and Vanguards, but the melee just doing work. Now it's up to DJ Handsfree, who's not able to do the 1v2.
Yeah, he missed 2 of his hits there.
Yeah, that cudgel just not quite long enough and in the right direction to get the kills. And now I'm pretty sure that Josh is going to find that he gets there a little bit too late, as it is inevitable. For those of you...
Unfortunately, Templar couldn't waste Arcade's time here.
No, and they still have 5 extra minutes on the clock, so they're going to get 5 here, and they'll have 10 minutes. Now, this objective is actually something where if they don't get this initial rush, Arcade, then Templar can actually hold up a crap ton of time.
Yeah.
So they'll be looking to try and do that here, although the lack of ammo crates in any direction or any position is really going to mitigate the effect of 27, at least as range threat. I think he's shown to be a competent short sword user at any rate, and then of course he does get a stab kill with the javelin, and he also got a range hit right there, so definitely trying to make me eat my words. But after multiple engagements, if he lives through multiple engagements, that's going to add up the ammo that he's not going to be able to replenish. It looks like they do have DJ Handsfree onto one side. They're trying to use that archer to hold this one side and still affect the fight over on the other side with all their melee on it. That way they do have some cover on both of them. If one side gets wiped, they don't have absolutely everyone get wiped. RK seems to be doing fairly well for this push, though. They've got it down to pretty much just 27 in Napster. And technically they are going.
They need to stop, yeah. That Vanguard needs to die.
Oh, nice shot by 27. Misses the second one, but then he gets taken down. Oh, and it looks like we are going to see...
Right.
Yep, DJ Handsfree taking down Skeetsy and saving it. And Fanny taking down Onion. This is just a continual onslaught of RK trying to just send people en masse. They're not grouping up for this objective because the momentum on the objective is incredibly important. If you feel like you have any at all, then the opponent's team is going to be trickling in quite a bit as well due to the way the spawns work. And you can keep up momentum by trickling in on this map if you feel like you are the better skirmishers. Unfortunately for RK, it's not looking like they were able to keep that momentum, and now they are regrouping for a more concentrated assault, which works especially when you have Templar and Napster out way by themselves, although it looks like RK is going to do half of their work for them, getting some TKs. They do have a Vanguard over onto that side already, so now the onus is going to be on them to take what we call B, or A over in my clan. We've actually named
you guys labeled it. Interesting.
Yes, because we get tired of somebody saying somebody go on the left, and then someone who just spawned goes to the left, and it gets confusing when you hit a battle. So
fair enough. We use attacker objective survey in this basically, so one side is always based on the attacker. Either way works, I guess. RK have the left side, or would you call left B?
Yes, we do. No, we just randomly jump to it. We call it YZX.4, just to confuse other people, so that if they're listening to our streams, they can't go. Looks like a fairly decent raid over on this right side, though, on B, is going to end up with this objective actually being accomplished. Templar held up fairly well on the first objective, but since then, their times have steadily been falling. RK is going to have a decent amount of time to actually be able to complete these objectives. It's interesting because in A we always see the Kings, which is now labeled Camp A formally, which I don't know why they didn't do to the third objective, that they updated the fourth objective. I'm not saying updating the fourth objective is a bad thing. That's a good thing. But do it for both. Come on.
Yeah, why not? And what I also don't understand is why didn't they just call C kings and B sons and then A family? Why the A, B, C stuff?
Well,
boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it does make it a little bit more boring and dehumanizes the objectives. So I can see that. Although typically objectives in other games are use an A, B, C structure for their different objective modes, domination and whatnot. Looks like we do see 2 getting onto princes or B, so they are going to be able to do lots of work on that. And I know in Europe this point is usually prized higher than A or C actually.
Yeah. For some reason, arcades prefer going to B first in every of their attacks on this map. Maybe they feel that it's getting rid of the easy ones first and just pounding the enemy is a quicker method.
They actually feel
have different methods.
I've talked to them about this. I believe that at least their opinion was at one time that because of the 2 choke points in this area, as opposed to the ability to have multiple choke points on C, that it actually makes B a more higher priority or a higher priority target, since more higher priority is not really proper English. So I'm an American. I don't have the excuse that, oh, English is not my first language, so I need to be hyper correct. It looks like they are sending a 4-man split without the man-at-arms. You see, most of the time, you actually have Rumpelstiltskin being on his own, trying to place pressure everywhere else in the map. DJ Handsfree, they obviously do not value protecting this as much as C or B, C or A. So interesting, they only send DJ Handsfree there as a scout, who actually then 1v1 Skeetsy saying, haha, I am the superior melee archer, and then I can also shoot Derringer in the back. Ranged people have taken down half of RK's team, two-thirds of RK's team before the battle has even started. Now crushed, trying to take out that cudgel. Oh, and actually being able to do so due to the Sword of War's faster overhead and just superior melee capability.
Napster all wiped out, so they'll probably go for a regroup now. They're using did they just use the catapult?
I do believe I saw a catapult go back, but I did not really see where it landed. So I don't know any point that they would have hit that looks like it. If they did use the catapult, they probably missed anything that they were aiming at. So
the time remaining is 8 minutes and 27 seconds. If you've forgotten, sorry.
No, that was it. I'm somewhat confused as to what happened. Look at the scoreboard. We see Crush doing lots of damage, 33 kills. He's been at the top of pretty much every RK scoreboard for pretty much the entirety of the tournament. The rest of them having mediocre KDs. Of course, KD isn't everything. It's possible that Crush is, of course, also using the double damage equals true value that they snuck into Pro Mod only for people that are super Pro Mod. That I'm sure Napster's probably using as well. Oh, Napster's probably being the bigger man, not using that, trying to make a statement. It's good for Napster. You see them actually breaking in. Again, incredibly odd. You see them making concentrated efforts on A. I'm surprised to see this if they're not also trying to get C at the same time.
Templar's just playing it defensively safe, making sure they always have C, because that's what they want to burn Arcade's time with. Good choice from Templar to just stay committed to that.
Yeah, if this is your strategy, I see lots of times this strategy fail when people go off and try to send undue pressure to the other camps. So if this is their strategy, then this is definitely the way to execute it. They value C so much because it is so close to that respawn. So during the middle of the fight, they can prolong the fights long enough that they can actually get reinforcements during the fight. Whereas if you obviously look, RK is not going to be able to get anywhere near. If you
Templar's got a good lineup here going. They've got a Vanguard watching the back end. DJ Hansbury is probably watching Forest. Very nice defense system done.
Yep, DJ Hansfree up on that top wall, trying to snipe them down as they go. Gets a hit off already.
Pushing through mid.
Yep, you actually see RK employing a Javelineer this time. Skeetsy swapping the Javelin, saying, "Hey 27, that looks fun, let me try." And of course, perhaps it did work.
They've got the first fight. Okay.
Yeah, perhaps it baited. It made Templar so furious that they just had to team kill. But then we go back to that respawn like we told you about. Affinity, I do believe, jumps down because he got respawned in time to actually be able to affect the battle. Now Rumple's not going to be able to get too much on it after that because, of course, the rest of the team respawns. So,
do you know if Agatha can also damage these doors? Does technically team damage account for these doors?
It does not.
That's a good thing then.
Yes, otherwise that would be insanely trollable.
I guess in public games you're right.
Yes, they have to always look at the difference between balancing for competitive and for possibly punishing someone for being retarded and just sitting there at the door doing an overhead and he accidentally hits the door and thinking, well, that would do damage to it. Same thing with the peasants on Stone's Hill. So you do see the similar rushing a very strong melee force. This time Rumple goes up around the left-hand side, is met with that Zweihander Vanguard. That's exactly who they want picking him up too. As far as the melee goes on the bottom, it looks like this is going heavily in favor of RK, though. Josh actually has to drop down from 1v1ing Rumple. Rumple follows him back, so he does get that back there. But now they actually do have this door down. This is going to be a good time for them. Roughly 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And the conch goes out. Now remember, this is going to be a 2-minute penalty for them, though. So basically, we can view it as either 2 minutes being taken off this time, or 2 minutes being added to the Templar time. I think it's probably more politically correct. Yep, and 2:28 is what's being called out.
Yep, that's it. Don't know why Templar 27 said 5 minutes for some reason, but whatever.
Well, I understand that if it was things like an English word that somebody gets wrong, but numbers, I mean, that's the same everywhere. Europeans don't have excuses for that. Oh, English is not my first language.
I love it how you get a bit of jabs in there now and then for the EUs.
Yeah, you're all. I think you're all masochists, so I only do it because I know you guys love it. I mean, after all, why else would you first get beaten by farmers and pitchforks in the American Revolution, and then you just go over back to Europe so you can beat yourselves up and have more wars against each other? You guys clearly like pain and hurting yourselves.
We invented it.
Yeah. See, America, we just go to war and we win, except for Vietnam.
Are you sure?
Well, Vietnam was an armed conflict. It was not a war.
What about Afghanistan and Iraq?
We pretty much won that. We pretty much won that.
Okay, fair enough. No worries. I trust you.
I mean, it's not like we're losing over there. We withdrew our forces from Iraq or whatever, but it's just more like they just sit there and do nothing. And it's just like we're over there to help people. We don't want to be over there. They don't even want us over there, but it's the right thing to do if you ask certain people.
Fair enough. Is this live now?
Yes, this is, and I do have to apologize. I feel like I have to defend America even by saying things I don't believe. So there's opinions out there. But you see Napster trying to pick up Rumple, who tried to sneak over on that right-hand side. I always like sending that man-at-arms in a space where he got to a space where he can maneuver around and was isolated from the rest of the combat, so other teammates can't really get to him quite as easily. That's one of the primary drawbacks of the man-at-arms. At least if you're trying to use him offensively. If you're using an offensive man-at-arms, then if you're putting yourself in combat, if you're putting yourself in range to hit someone, you're able to get hit. So if you're a man-at-arms, the optimal way to play that in an offensive manner is to try to find those areas where you can isolate yourself, get yourself in those positions where you don't get 2v1'd, or where they don't have extra people in that vicinity to try and get you.
Templar doing a very great push here.
Yep, and we actually see the broadsword coming out from Rumpel, trying to 1v1 Napster. And Napster does eventually get that with his Danax. And the push from Templar is fairly strong. It seems to be going much more smoothly than the initial push from Arcade did go. And that Archer did spaz out for a moment. I wish, in those minutes, I wish I had my death timer a little bit higher, my ragdoll timer, so that I could just sit there looking at spazzing bodies much more often. Looks like RK is going to come down as one off of that side, leaving Skeetsy up there to try and rain down death. Engaged in a little counter archer work against DJ Handsfree on the other side. And it looks like he actually is able to take out 27. DJ Handsfree, now a bald archer, trying to fall back and hold off this assault with the help of his trusty knight, but that doesn't give him eyes on the back of his head. And he does end up getting taken out by the combined powers of Crushed and Dubba J. Interesting to see no pain coming out from RK. Seems like they've gone to Onion. Oh wait, I'm getting mixed up, I do believe. No, I'm not.
I think that was on the other team, wasn't it? Or
no, Pain was on this team, I believe.
I guess last night I heard RK wasn't sure if they could bring their full team, but I guess they made substitutions, which is fine.
Yep.
As long as we get this tournament finished, it's all good.
That's all that you care about. You're like, I just want to get out of here. They're like, you're welcome for the turning. Quit whining about different stuff. So, looking at how this is going, Templar seems to be doing a pretty decent job at trying to penetrate, but they always just seem to